This episode of the Beauty Industry Podcast was brought to you by Vital Plus. Hello and welcome to the Beauty Industry Podcast, your online support community for the professional beauty industry. I am your host, founding director of Beauty Industry, Tamara Reid. Here we are closing the competitive gap and speaking your language. This is a platform created and dedicated to the professional beauty industry, valuing community over competition. We serve to help connect you with inspiration from industry experts, expand your knowledge through educational pieces, and bring you the latest in product and technology innovation. This is Beauty Industry. Today's guest is Eunice Bredenkamp from Nimue Skin in conversation with Lashana Shepherd. Now more than ever, clients presenting with acnaic skins are a common condition we see in our treatment rooms. That being said, it's important that we house a sound understanding around the sometimes tricky to clear skin concern. Returning to the podcast is the knowledgeable Eunice Bredenkamp, International Education Manager at Nimue. Her background in the beauty industry, along with her wide scope of expertise, Eunice comes with an incredible understanding of the skin, skincare ingredients, and how therapists can work towards best treating skin concerns. If this is the first time you're hearing about Nimue Skin Technology, they're a derma-cosmeceutical brand that was developed in 1994 by leading skincare scientists aimed at the medical market for pre- and post-operative application. Since then, Nimue has evolved into a recognized professional skincare brand distributed globally, renowned for an expert understanding of the skin, innovative formulations, cutting-edge technology, and effective combination, concentration, and strength of ingredients. Sharing with us educational insights around treating acne with integrity, ideal treatments, and home care, this is an educational episode packed with value that is a must-listen for all treating professionals. Here is Lashana and Eunice for Beauty Industry.
All right, welcome Eunice. Thank you for joining us once again.
Oh, I'm very excited and it's so lovely to meet you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Oh, our pleasure. And as I mentioned before we hit record, thank you for getting up early for us. We very much appreciate it because you're all the way in South Africa. So thank you.
Oh, no problem. I get up very early myself. I've got dogs and husbands and not husbands, one. The other things that we're busy with early in the morning.
Oh, well, very good. Well, I'm glad you've carved out time in your schedule for us. We absolutely love it. And we're going to talk about a topic that we're both very passionate about today. So it's going to be a very exciting episode. Now, we've spoken to you before about Nimue and your career journey, but I want to ask you to start the podcast is how you actually began working with Nimue.
Oh my goodness. I could keep you busy for a whole hour with that topic, but I'll be short. I actually started my Nimue journey about 26 years ago. I was so lucky. I attended one of the talks from the scientist that was behind the brand originally, and I was totally wooed by the information and this absolute knowledge that he imparted on us. But working then at that stage in my life, I was principal of a private college in skincare, and I wanted to have the brand in the college. It's so different, it's so unique. And needless to say, working with the brand a bit, getting to know the people, I literally begged them for a full-time position years ago. So 10 years ago, after many months of mailing and saying, you want me to work for you, they finally said, fine, we've had enough of your emails, come and join the company. And my journey with the Nimue company has started 10 years ago in international education, and that is where I still am today. So it's a long journey, and I think that says a lot about how the brand resonates with a person if you stay with a company for so many years or have worked with a product for so many years.
Absolutely. It's a great testament to Nimue that, number one, you bang down their doors. And it's actually a story we hear from Nimue stockists is that they love the product so much that they want to just take it further and further and further. So not uncommon. But what is uncommon is to be somewhere for 26 years. It's incredible.
Yes, I was 20 of the 30 years I've been in the industry. 20 was working as a college principal, stocking the brand, and 10 was I am with this brand, and you're going to struggle to get rid of me.
I'm in here now. You'll never get rid of me. Part of the furniture.
Yes.
I love that it's come from your own passion around the brand. It's not something that was secondary. And it's always such a lovely story to hear when someone finds something that just resonates with them, that they're passionate about, and they're like, yep, me, pick me.
Yes. I think it's so important in life because that you do your best work if it is where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're passionate about it, you can't teach passion.
No. You are so right. You are so right.
We can try. No. Now, one word that you used and that everyone uses to describe Nimue is innovative, because they are such an innovative and unique brand. Their concepts aren't things that we've necessarily seen before, and especially 20 years ago, we certainly didn't see it. They're very they're at the forefront of technology. Now, Nimue also has a skin classification concept system. Very big mouthful. Do you want to tell us a little bit about this classification system, what that means, and how it works with the Nimue product and brand?
Oh, I'd love to. It's actually a very easy system. We have divided the skin, or we have divided people into 4 categories. The categories are called environmentally damaged skin, hyperpigmented skin, and problematic skin, and interactive skin. So what this basically means, an environmentally damaged skin is most of us. Whether your skin is excessively dry or just maybe combination, or excessively dehydrated, or just a little bit oily, or mature, aging, lines, wrinkles, sagging. So basically all conditions that the environment contributed to, we put them in a category called environmentally damaged. Whether we like to hear it or not, all our skins are slightly damaged. And when you show lines and wrinkles, there's some damage. If you show sagging, there's some damage. If you show dehydration, there's some damage. But you cannot treat hyperpigmented and acne the same as an environmentally damaged skin, although the environment has a role to play. So hyperpigmented skin means we focus with all the ingredients and the delivery systems for that skin classification as unique. There are similarities in the acids we use, but they have a unique concept of treating them, of looking at what the cause was of the hyperpigmentation, looking at medication the client is on, stress, inflammation, and environment. And then, of course, problematic is your acne skin. You have to treat acne very differently. You can't have the same focus, same ingredient technologies. You've got to have individualized ingredients and individualized delivery systems, and realize where it's coming from again. So very important to look at, when we look at the classification, to do an effective consultation to put your client in a specific classification system. So with acne, we've also got to focus on bacteria and focus on hormones and focus on your barrier. And then one of my favorites, and having a chat with you, I realized it's one of yours too, is interactive skin. Interactive skin is a skin that kind of does not fit in anywhere due to sensitivity, but it's not necessarily a sensitive skin. It is a sensitized skin, because a normal sensitive skin is part of an environmentally damaged skin. But when your skin have become sensitized, there's a lot more playing there. There's your eczemas, there's your psoriasis, there's your dermatitis, and so many others. And we have to treat them completely differently. They cannot use alpha hydroxy acids. They've got to use polyhydroxy acids. They've got to use other actives to obviously repair the barrier of the skin. So that is, in short, classified all our clients' skins to treat them effectively for what conditions they have.
Yeah, fantastic. And I love that you don't just have classifications, each classification has little legs. So each classification is like, it's environmental, but we're looking at sun damage, we're looking at trauma, we're looking at aging, we're looking at lifestyle, we're looking at medication, we're looking at all those things that environmentally damage your skin. And then we go to interactive, and then we go to pigmentation, and it's all got those little legs, which is fabulous.
Yes. Because if there was a one fits all, it would be fantastic in the world, but there isn't. So we have to, though you classify them specifically, you have to consider so many aspects in the treatment thereof, But this just makes it quite easy for users of Nimue to use it effectively and safely.
To be honest, if there was a one size fits all, we'd probably be out of a job. Mind you, if everyone wore sunscreen, we'd diminish a lot of those as well. But
you are so right there.
No, it's a great little system. And I love that we've come so far from, and you would know, being a principal of a beauty school, from the small classifications of dry, normal, oily, sensitive, pigment, aging, that's it. Now we've got a lot more avenues. We look at hormones, we look at environmental factors, we look at internal factors such as medication or pollution and things like that. So I love that you've taken everything into consideration there.
Absolutely. No, it is very important to look at the entire picture. And one of the things that makes Nimue quite unique is we don't just treat symptoms. Of course, we treat symptoms, but that's not our focus. Our focus is to find the cause. And if you can find the cause and treat the cause, you do treat the symptoms.
So today we're talking about treating acne with integrity, because I think that's something that we definitely need to do anytime we approach acne. And at Nimue, obviously you are you're known for treating those underlying conditions. And again, like those classifications, taking those little legs and diving into not just the symptoms, but all of those causes. How does Nimue go about approaching acne?
Oh, it's one of my favorite conditions to treat myself, but it's such a debilitating skin concern. I think the gratification for us as therapists in treating acne is seeing the result when a client that walks in that's too embarrassed to even look you in the eye because of the breakouts, because of the concerns around it, can walk out a few weeks, months later with a clear, healthy skin. So Nimue is a health brand, first of all. It's a skin health brand. But for us, the first and foremost thing, the thing that differentiates any therapist from being mediocre to the best is doing an effective consultation when you work on any client, but specifically acne. We need to find out the trigger of the specific acne that the client is suffering from. We need to find out if the trigger cannot be taken away. How are we going to treat this, and how are we going to manage this concern? So I always want clients to understand what acne actually is. What is the term acne? And it's very simple, because when a client can understand what they are suffering from, it starts to make sense to them. And whatever we give them to treat the skin, they do it understanding why. So I always say to them, it's very simple. It occurs when your follicles become blocked, plugged with oil, dead skin cells, dirt, debris, and that's then aggravated by many sub-concerns like hormones, medications, etc. So we would like to treat a client's acne effectively, getting rid of all those concerns, but also your common breakout. That is also related to many other concerns, your typical breakout of blackheads and of whiteheads, your pustules that appear. And we always say to them, you get concerned it's on the face, but it can to the chest, it can spread to just the forehead, it can be on areas into the hairline, on the back, we often see that. So it's not just always concerned in one specific area, it can be in many areas at once, it can be in a couple of areas, and we want to make them very much, first of all, aware before we start to treat them. So obviously, we have to consider some changes in the skin, what happens, and some causes of acne. And the causes are endless. But we have to look at nutrition. We always start in consultation just looking at, are they eating the right foods? Do they get enough vitamins, minerals, fats, oils, proteins? are they having a balanced diet? If they admit they're not, they may be just carnivores, or they only have their milk every day, they don't like dairy. We always recommend they first go to a nutritionist to also, together with us, work on the concern. And we want to make them aware of cosmetic use. We use makeup. We are ladies, but we want to make them aware of ingredients in whatever they apply to their skin. We want to make them aware of ingredients such as lanolin, such as artificial colorants, comedogenic type of ingredients, your mineral oils, or any ingredient that could possibly contribute to the irritation in the follicle, to the inflammation. And I believe inflammation is the cause of all evil in skin. And we want to make them aware of that. And then, of course, a very important awareness is hormone changes. And as you know, with your experience in the industry, and as many of our listeners know, hormones play a huge role in adolescence, in pregnancy, and of course in menopause. So we want to also categorize where they would possibly fall in, and could some of the consequences be hormone changes, and it can last quite a long time. So we look at testosterone, and we're looking at those factors that contribute at different times to the acne breakout that the client could suffer from. And then medication. There's certain medications that can contribute. Stress, which we are all focused on at the moment due to COVID and many other issues, Christmas time, stress, etc. And that increases adrenaline. And when the adrenaline is increased, there's an increase in blood supply, and there could be an increase in sebaceous activity. So stress is also a very bad cause of many conditions, but also acne. And pollution, you've mentioned pollution. It's a big focus for Nimue to make the client aware of pollution effects on the skin, pollution in the environment, internal, external pollution that could clog pores and cause your acne, but could also, of course, worsen acne that the client already is possibly suffering from. And coming from the Southern Hemisphere, as you know, climatic conditions is a bit worse in the Southern Hemisphere, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, due to humidity. Think of chefs. Often many chefs suffer from acne due to that humidity on where they work, the heat and oils. And if we even think of mask wearing now, that maskne, where there's humidity in the area where we speak, the perspiration that also could contribute. And the bad things we all do, the friction. When you feel a little thing underlying on your chin, by the time you get home through the traffic, it's a huge breakout and a huge angry spot because of the rubbing and the pressure that you've applied to the skin. And then your acne mechanica that we also have to warn the clients about.
Absolutely. There's no one type of acne, and there's no one type of trigger. And even if we look at the triggers, for example, I've had a client previously who has had a baby throughout her entire pregnancy and her entire journey of breastfeeding. She had insanely active, very pustular acne. Her nose was probably about 2 times its normal size from oil and thickening and things like that. She wasn't willing to stop the breastfeeding just yet because she didn't want to obviously stop that journey with her child, but she wanted to get on top of the acne. And balances like that can be quite hard because you can't stop someone from being a chef, and you can't stop them from being in their environment, or you can't necessarily change their hormones. But looking at things like diet, their lifestyle is still always where we start, because if there are any changes we can make, they're the ones we make first.
Absolutely. So the journey with Nimue, we've got a holistic journey in treating. So we start with a proper analysis, the cause, the triggers, and how we go from there. But with Nimue, and you spoke about breastfeeding clients now and about pregnancy, where we don't necessarily want to change a client's routine dramatically because we know the trigger is the hormone, but we want to treat them because they've got such a huge concern and their daily lives are affected. So what we focus on in our Nimue acne treatments is our strata microbiome. Now, your strata microbiome is as you possibly know, the very, very top layer of your skin. And it's always been there, though it's quite relatively new in how we see it and how we consider the strata microbiome. But it's that wonderful layer of amazing trillions of microbes, but good microbes. And I don't know if you knew, but it accounts for 10 times as many cells as the rest of your body. So it's really a powerful layer on top of our skin. And this microbiome layer is obviously on top of the largest organ of our bodies, our skins. So we start with Nimue considering the microbiome, the strata microbiome, the microbiota of the skin. So what we want to do is create a healthy skin flora. We want to be able to feed the good bacteria because they ward off bad bacteria, but at the same time, not feed the bad bacteria. We want to strengthen the skin's superficial epidermis, the superficial layer. Now, your skin microbes are usually non-pathogenic or commensal or mutualistic. So we have to take that in consideration. So the benefits of this bacteria and what this wonderful microbiome can offer that is compromised on a client that suffers from acne is that it prevents that transient pathogenic organisms from colonizing on the skin surface. So it's very important when you treat acne to treat the microbiota, to treat the surface of the skin as well, to make sure that there's a balance again in the resident microbes that is on the skin, the good microbes. And we must never forget that we are working on an organ. And for us at Nimue, it's so important that we treat this organ with absolute respect.
After the break, Eunice shares with us the importance of home care prescription when it comes to treating acne. But first, a word from today's beauty partner, which is, of course, none other than Vital Plus. It is clear that long-term skin health is not only the Vital Plus passion, but also their obsession rooted in the DNA from the very beginning when Jacqueline Gorbischer established Vital Plus. The team believe that education creates better businesses, so Vital Plus offers extensive and flexible training options both in salon and online to help salons upskill and reach their full potential. Whether you're a startup or an established salon inspired to take your business to the next level as a big-hearted business, Vital Plus are there with a real person on the line, ready to listen and happy to help. With no minimum opening order and no minimum monthly spending, Vital Plus makes it easy to work with Australia's best holistic skincare brands. Vital Plus also offers great profit margins, huge quarterly salon bonuses and staff incentive programs. In addition, if you want to start making your own videos, as you may have heard, you can schedule your own video session to create professional videos in state-of-the-art equipment at the Vital Plus headquarters in Mossman in New South Wales. To celebrate their 30th business anniversary, Vital Plus is offering 30% off your opening order. And yes, you heard that correctly. That's a massive 30% off your opening order, which does not come around too often. So head over to vitalplus.com.au and use the code anniversary to check out to redeem this amazing offer on your cart. Thank you so much to Frank and the team at Vital Plus for making this episode of the Beauty Industry podcast possible. And now, back to the conversation.
It's one of those things that we see very often. Acne is essentially, as you pointed out, it's inflammation. It is usually red, it's sensitive, it's come from friction, it's come from a product, it's come from something that sparked some kind of inflammation in the skin. And yet, for some reason, the go-to when it comes to treating acne is to be really aggressive and to be really harsh and to wipe it all out and kill the bacteria. And anyone that's taken antibiotics would know that messes everything up. It throws everything out of balance. And I think you guys, again, at the forefront of everything, taking that microbiota and the flora and the balance of the skin into consideration before anyone else. Now it's becoming quite popular and quite well known, but you guys were definitely at the forefront of going, hang on a minute, the skin's got all these organisms going on that keep us safe, that keep everything balanced. And we need to look at that as well, because if you don't, then again, that's when you see those acne skins that okay, maybe they don't have any active breakouts anymore, but they're stripped, they're red, they're raw, they're dehydrated.
It causes an inflammatory cascade, So what we want to add, how we want to treat this client, is to perform treatments and use ingredients and technologies that will balance the microbiota, but yet have a really positive and active effect on an overproducing sebaceous gland, and to balance water and oil, because we often see that clients that do have acne also have a really dehydrated skin. So it's important for us to create a balance. So what we do with our Nimue focus is to add a prebiotic of some sorts to our treatment, to our professional treatment, as well as to treating our client effectively at home. So we use, for example, a carefully selected range of polysaccharides that you're obviously going to encapsulate in a cellulose matrix to really work effectively on your microbiota. So when this formulation is released on the skin, it acts as a really powerful food supplement and conditioning agent. And it really helps to add benefit to the microbiome and to the microorganisms found on top of the skin. In contrast, one would say, or somebody might say, but what about the bad bacteria? If you feed it with these selected polysaccharides, surely they can also select or extract food from that, but they can't. So what we do is, in the formulation, how it's formulated, it can only be metabolized by your good bacteria and cannot be metabolized at all by any bad bacteria, any bad bacterial strains, yeasts, molds, and none of those. So it's giving wonderful food with a prebiotic to your good bacteria to promote growth of good bacteria, and very, very importantly, to enhance the immune system of your skin. And we've seen that COVID is a word on everybody's lips. And what we've seen is how it affects the immune system. So we want to focus on the immune system, because how it is deteriorated is through inflammation. And we want to definitely be able to create a barrier against that. So by using our prebiotic, we can have an anti-acne effect on the skin. But often associated with acne is wounding of the skin. So what we need to also do is promote wound healing, to promote use an ingredient such as a powerful anti-inflammatory, providing the nutrition in an anti-inflammatory world, and then to boost that skin immune system, and to not forget about the barrier and the biolipids, because we sometimes lose focus when we treat acne, and we don't even think about your biolipid layer, your barrier of your skin. But for us, it's also important to, through ingredients and through building a barrier and building biolipids, to treat the acne.
Absolutely. And you touched on something there that I think a lot of therapists forget, which is that our epidermis and our dermis, they do have their own immune system. They do work on being that first, line of defense when it comes to our skin. And that is no exception when we look at our skin conditions. We need our skin's immune system to be working properly to make sure that we are skating off those skin conditions and making sure we're keeping them at bay. Yes. And again, keeping your barrier healthy as well.
Absolutely. And then, you need to also not forget about some really commonly known great ingredients that you use in acne treatments. Your vitamin A esters, really amazing and powerful form of vitamin A to use in the skin, to use for acne. It might take a bit longer to work, but it really works effectively, because not only will it treat the acne, but also other conditions. It will treat your create collagen synthesis. It will really be powerful as to work very well with certain other acids, like, for example, glycolic acid, and promoting the cell turnover still when we are working on an acne client. And then, of course, we love to include encapsulated retinol, so that we can work on this skin condition that could be quite sensitive as well at some points, quite sensitized, so that we can work on it with retinol, but in an encapsulated form that will decrease that skin irritation as well. And one of the ingredients that I have to mention that really is a magnificent ingredient used in Nimue, and it's not only used in acne, but also for other conditions, and that's an ingredient called lactocomplex. What it does, it's a milk protein, hydrolyzed milk protein, but it works on a scale of balance. So you can use this ingredient on a very oily skin, but also a very dry skin, because the wonderful function of this ingredient is that it actually can normalize the function of the sebaceous gland so that you can restore that hydrolipidic film on the skin, or your acid mantle, by balancing, as we said, can become very dry, dehydrated as well, and it can create a balance. And we can't forget salicylic acid. I am a big lover of salicylic acid. It's such a simple acid from the willow bark tree, but awesome for an acne skin. And salicylic acid is, when it's used in conjunction with kaolin, it really works very effectively too. So you'll often see masks that contain a bit of kaolin also will contain salicylic acid. Really powerful two ingredients that work very effectively together in the breaking down of those compacted corneocytes. And then, of course, to be able to mop up that excess sebum in the sebaceous gland while it's exfoliating. And I always say to people, don't forget some natural ingredients. Think of your tea tree. When we were all students years ago in aromatherapy, that wonderful value of tea tree, still a wonderful ingredient to use in ingredient technologies and in combinations and in formulations for acne treatments, and specifically for that wonderful antibacterial effect that we so need to have for an acne skin.
We do forget that with salicylic acid, mixing it with things that are going to regulate the sebum, again, is going to stop that Band-Aid effect. It's going to stop you just mopping up the oil and treating all of that, but you're actually going to regulate the amount of oil flow. You're going to regulate the amount of oil being produced, whether it's too much or too little, as well as obviously mop up, get rid of those blockages, and really, venture forward into a more healthier and clearer skin.
Absolutely. And it's so important for our clients that come to the salons for treatments that they also use a really effective home care routine. And you, being in the industry with us for so many years, will know the importance of home care. You also have to very much educate your acne client on less is more, not to have a harsh approach. Do not try to dry the skin out and end up looking like a prune, but making the condition even worse, because what you actually are doing is you are stimulating the sebaceous glands to create more oil. So very important to have a home care range that complements the professional treatments that you use. And I'm not just saying that to promote the brand Nimue, but you must keep in mind whatever range you use as a therapist for your clients, the home care associated with a professional in a specific range, whether it be Nimue or any other range, are formulated to work together. So really important to have a proper home care range that will cleanse the skin effectively with no harsh ingredients, but yet effective ingredients that will balance the sebaceous secretion, yet at the same time have an antibacterial effect on the skin, and have ingredients that is going to protect the barrier, build the biolipids, and making the skin healthy. Because on a healthy skin, we can pretty much, on a healthy barrier or on a healthy biolipid layer composition, we can pretty much achieve anything on a skin. So looking at the bacteria at home, making sure that it contains a prebiotic, looking at your treatment in the cabin to be in conjunction with treatment at home, to then also have a holistic approach at home by drinking enough water, eating healthy, and treating your skin daily. But one product that we cannot not mention is an SPF. And I think you'll agree with me. Tell an acne client to use an SPF and they want to run away. I don't know if you've experienced that.
Oh, absolutely. They're like, no, I'll break out more. It's greasy. It's not good for me. I don't want to use it. I don't go outside. You hear it all.
Absolutely. And you need to have an SPF that is going to further help to protect the barrier against pollution, because pollution is such a big contributing factor to acne. And if you look at it for a SPF, look for one that offers obviously your UVA-B protection, that offers some barrier protection, that offers protection against pollution, that looks at the broad spectrum of how can I protect the skin yet not making it oily. And your Nimue SPFs, they are non-comedogenic. They are not creating an oily layer on the skin, and it can really be used on anyone. My son, bless his soul, when he was a young boy, he'll be so embarrassed if he ever hears me mention this, but as a young boy, about 16, he had an awful breakout of acne. And it's hard enough for a girl, but a boy can't even hide it. And being in the skincare industry, mom was there giving the right Nimue product. And it took a couple of months to get the skin right because I didn't want to go on medication with him. But to get him to apply the SPF every day was the cause of many pre-school fights between mom and son. But I just kept enforcing it. And he moved, his skin cleared up beautifully. He moved to Korea after he finished at uni and stayed there in a high humidity area, high polluted country for 4 years, but still used his Nimue SPF. And I believe that is what allowed his skin to still breathe, yet still be protected and come home years later with still a good, healthy skin. So an SPF, really important, a cleanser, really important, and then an active day and night cream to assist further.
I always go back to relating it to the gym or the dentist, which is, I mean, so logical to people to go, okay, I brush my teeth every day, but then I go to the dentist for my deep clean. Your skin is exactly the same. You need to be using the home care.
You have to. And then again, you can't only use home care, because we do have some clients that say, no, but I'm using a product at home, I don't need treatment. But treatments are so important. You cannot do at home what a therapist can do for you in a salon or in a spa or in a clinic. We have the tools, we've got different types of ingredients, we use higher percentages of certain actives so that we can effectively treat this specific concern. So, yeah, they go hand in hand, using good home care together with a really good professional brand. And the most important thing there is to go to a really great therapist that is skilled and passionate and can get the results that you deserve.
And I think we've all seen it. I've seen clients wash their face with hand soap because they want their face to be squeaky clean because they have acne and that's what they think they need to do. And they never pick up a moisturizer and they never pick up an SPF. And again, if we peel acne back, it's very much about inflammation and proliferation. They're two things that, you know, either are happening too much or happening too little. And when it comes to your SPF, it's stopping that inflammation, it's stopping that pollution, it's stopping some of those triggers. It's the same with a rosacea skin. If someone's got acne rosacea, they don't like to use the SPF. They're very hesitant to put that on because, again, they're worried about their breakouts and they're not seeing the inflammatory side of the condition. So it's important to remember.
And it can be used, a good formulation of an SPF can be used on any nationality, any ethnicity. So it doesn't cause whitening if you may be a little darker skinned. It really, the way you apply it is but it's one of the most important things. And it's the tip I always give people is use your SPF. Yeah. Don't not use your SPF. Use your product as it's prescribed by your skincare professional and use good quality products. They might cost a bit more, but if you consider the technology, the research, the top class of raw materials, the delivery systems, the technologies that are used, it really can't even compare in the quality that you get for the price that you pay. And we have to take care of our skins. It's the one thing, as they say, that's with you all your life, the same one doesn't go away. And then, of course, inflammation. Inflammation, I think we could have days conversation about inflammation. But when the skin is has acne, or it has a certain trigger that causes inflammation. You don't always see inflammation. You could have a skin that looked quite normal to you with just a few blackheads, maybe the odd little breakout on the chin when you maybe have your hormonal changes monthly. And you would not consider that your skin possibly have an underlying inflammatory condition caused by stress, caused by medication, caused by so many things. And that creates internally, that's not even visible in my cells, in my mitochondria, creates this pathway, this inflammatory cascade. Now I say to people, imagine you are stuck in a huge traffic jam on the main highway and you are gridlocked. You can't go anywhere. Nothing is going to work. People are getting mad and angry and hooting and they are shouting out of windows. And that's actually exactly what happens in your skin when there's an inflammatory cascade. It's going a little crazy inside. It's shouting out for help. And in that creates more inflammation. It does not then create that ability of skin immunity to heal the inflammation. And you end up either with an acne breakout on those little blackheads and few pimples you thought you had, or hyperpigmentation, or an interactive skin and environmental damage. So we have to really focus on what we put in our bodies, what we ingest, medications we are on, stress levels. Start to exercise. I know not everybody loves to exercise, but it reduces stress, even just a walk every day, because in the end, these things that seem so simple actually all contribute to a really healthy skin. So it's, I would say, a mind, body, soul attitude to be able to help our clients to treat acne.
Absolutely. Now, acne is so diverse, but I know I'm going to get this question when we air this podcast, which is going to be, what's your go-to for acne? What treatment is your go-to? And I know that's a hard question to answer because really everyone is very diverse, but I thought I'd ask anyway, is there a go-to for you? Is there one treatment you turn to the most?
With Nimue, there are two specific things I do. First of all, I like to deep cleanse my skin, and Nimue has an amazing peel called the Thermal Detox Peel. It contains charcoal, it contains all those wonderful actives and acids that is going to detoxify my pores, my skin, create a heat sensation, really just clean it out and leave my skin glowing. So I love to have that type of treatment at least every 2 or 3 months, but there is so many treatment offers in Nimue. One of them is a designer peel for acne. It is called a skin resurfacing complex for problematic skin, which contains a cocktail of acids to work in all levels of the epidermis and to stimulate dermal improvements so that we can get that result. So that's my favorite. And I love to have products that is going to have a bit of tea tree inside it. Really, it gives me that smell of anti-acne, if I can call it that, but really very effectively. But what is so important for me, when I do get my breakout every month on my chin, is do not touch your skin. Take your hands away from your skin. My acne patients, stop touching, stop squeezing, stop scratching, stop trying to extract at home. Keep your skin clean with a cleanser that won't strip the skin. I absolutely believe you should have an acid-based cleanser, not an alkaline-based cleanser for this type of condition. Stop touching your skin. Stick to the protocols that the therapists have given you and use SPF. We know when you are not using your SPFs, clients, because you should replace it as many times as your day cream.
Yes.
And they don't. You replace that twice a year only. So clearly you're not using it at home.
Oh, absolutely. We know how long things should last. And just kind of on that, because you did touch on that before, you know, when we're looking at investing in a product that has good formulation and has quality ingredients, usually, and it's something that I think people forget to relay to their clients, is that they often don't need to use as much. It is like having a medication with double the milligrams inside the tablet. You go from needing 2 tablets to 1 tablet because it's a lot stronger. It's a more concentrated dose. You don't need to be emptying out, a pool of cleanser on your hand to cleanse your skin.
Absolutely. You don't have to do that. And that is why people also get a bit annoyed if they are not educated by the therapist how to use it. They do, like you say, they don't know. They will keep on pumping more product because they think it's supposed to feel occlusive. But we need to train them. We need to tell them how to use it, because it can become really expensive if you need to replace all your products every month. So you would like to create a lifespan of about 3 months for a product. That means only maybe 3-4 times in a year you need to have everything replaced. But if you're going to go crazy, you're going to replace this every month.
Absolutely. Sometimes you have to take it back to teaching people how to cleanse. And especially with something like acne, it's not uncommon for people to just put the product in their hand and start rubbing. And often you have to foam it up. You have to add a little bit of water so it doesn't become stripping, so that you're activating the acids and doing everything that you need to do to make sure that that cleanser works appropriately. And sometimes you have to strip it all the way back to, let me show you how to cleanse.
Absolutely. It's all about education. It's about educating clients. I always also say, you will make the sale by educating the client. And they'll come back to you. So show them how to use it. Explain. We've got a wonderful exfoliating enzymes that we recommend an acne client uses about 3 times a week. And if you do not train them and explain to them how to use it effectively at home, how to apply it, leave it on the skin for a minute, massage it vigorously, add warm water, create that friction and heat sensation, but on the active acne to do it slightly differently, you will not get the result. And that's with all brands and all products. So yes, let's start educating the clients. Sometimes they're too shy to actually ask us how to do something. They just think, she's going to think I'm stupid. I'm just going to figure it out myself.
Especially when you're investing in your skincare, if it's a good quality range and you've invested your time and your money in treatments and home care, it's never a dumb question to say, hey, I'm just spending $120 on this product. Can I please be shown how to use it? And if you're offering that service before the client asks, it's an amazing service to add.
It is. And people work hard for their money. So they deserve to have products that work, that will give result, and know how to use it.
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to wrap up probably with a bit of a trick question again. Love trick questions. What is your number one tip when it comes to acne? Obviously, cleanse your skin, don't touch, all of those basic things. But is there one mistake or one tip that you see that you really want to let therapists know that they might not be implementing or they might not be seeing?
People sometimes think you should exfoliate less. Others really think you should exfoliate aggressively. Do exfoliate. Use enzymatic exfoliators, not exfoliators with harsh ingredients or with beads and granules that could cause more damage and overstimulate. So don't forget your exfoliation. It really is an important step for that skin to get that keratolytic effect, comedogenic effect going. And again, stop touching skin. Explain to the client the bad bacteria on your hands that you are placing on that bacteria invaded skin by keeping on touching. Don't sit with your chin in your palm. Don't touch your face when you drive home and you're really bored in the traffic and you start to scratch. It's leaving it alone. Let the professionals treat the acne. If the extractions need to be done, let the professional do it, and do exfoliate and stick to protocol. Clearing up acne can be a wonderful experience that will last forever if you work together with your therapist.
It is a collaborative effort. It's not walk in, get a treatment, acne solved. It definitely is collaborative. It has to often be internal and external, which is one of the things that make it the most difficult to treat by yourself, because there are just so many facets to it and so many factors like touching, gut pollution. We've rattled so many off today, and we could probably keep going.
Absolutely.
Well, Eunice, today has been so wonderful. I think our passion probably oozes through the microphone, and we could probably talk all day about this incredible subject. But thank you so much for enlightening us and giving us a really in-depth lowdown on acne, what it is.
It's been my pleasure, and thank you for the opportunity. Loved chatting to you today.
Feeling is absolutely mutual. Thank you so much. And you have a wonderful rest of your day. I can't believe, for you, it's only 9 o'clock in the morning and you've already done a meeting before me.
Yes, and the next one's coming at 10, so busy day, but love it.
Go get yourself a coffee.
Well, if you are a therapist treating acne and you wanted a moment to upskill and increase your knowledge, well then that episode is an absolute gold nugget of information for you to digest. The way Eunice explains what's happening in the skin, paired with Lashana's relatable analogies, just makes learning that much easier to understand, and boy are you guys so lucky having experts like this at your fingertips to learn from. You can, of course, go through the back catalogue of our podcast episodes with over 200 of them now living in podcast land, and continue to listen and learn, especially given that we have the holiday break right around the corner. You'll find all of the Beauty goodness over on our website and socials, so come and say hi at Beauty Industry while you are scrolling. Until next time, stay connected.